Be seated. I always have to bury myself in the book, in the words of the book on 153 during that procession around when I'm leading it. I find that the words are sort of like the words in my experience to Stairway to Heaven, in that I know them all, but I very easily confuse which ones go where. So I very much have to track that in that place. But good Shabbos, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. When Kimmy and I got married, we didn't have any dancing at our wedding. I don't like to dance. Kimmy doesn't like to dance. We made the observation that at other people's weddings, we are the people that are often in the hallway whenever the DJ is like, now let's all hit the floor, hiding from the dancing. And so we thought, why have dancing at our own wedding if we are both, frankly, inclined to hide from it? Well, as some of you may know, there is actually a mitzvah about dancing at weddings. Does anybody know what this mitzvah is?
You have to entertain the bride.
It is a mitzvah to dance before the bride at a Jewish wedding. This is correct. Why would that be a mitzvah? Sorry? To celebrate. Very good. I think it's supposed to be a mitzvah because, in point of fact, you're supposed to feel a certain kind of way. It's supposed to be a celebration, right? A simcha. Thank you, Karen. That's exactly right. And so we have this mitzvah around it, pointed, in fact, directly at it in this way that you have to make it feel a certain way, regardless of how you feel. Now, maybe my wedding was right, maybe it was wrong, whatever. We can talk about that another time. We did not feel the need to have people dance at us in order to feel a sense of joy.
Did you go up on chairs?
What's that?
Did you end up on chairs?
We did not go up on chairs. In fact, a friend of mine started dancing, actually, because we had this jazz band playing. It was this great band. A friend of mine started dancing, and another friend of mine said, no dancing. Come on, man. Like, we know what the rule is here. But I mention that not because we are transgressive, which aren't we all, but I mention it because I believe that dancing at the wedding injunction, I translate mitzvah not just as a good deed, but as a commandment, is there because you're supposed to feel a certain kind of way. You're supposed to feel a certain kind of way. On the flip side of that whole coin, I thought about somebody for whom I served as their rabbi, and I was preparing to officiate a wedding of someone that we both knew, and this person in my congregation at the time said, because of a lot of her own, at the time it was infertility sort of sadness, she said, I can't go to this wedding and be happy. Do I really have to go? Asking me as the rabbi. I said, no, you don't have to go to the wedding. If you can't go and be happy, if you can't go and feel the way you're supposed to feel, that you want to feel, but you can't, I would not tell you that, no, you must go and you must feel this thing. But it's hard. It's a little complicated. I also think about, in some ways, Tisha B'Av as forming a sort of twin with Simchat Torah. Why? Because these two holidays, Davka, you are supposed to feel a certain kind of way. What if you don't want to feel that way? What if you don't organically, naturally feel that way? I think this has come up every single year in the wake of the Simchat Torah that took place on October 7th. What if you don't feel joyous like dancing for the Torah and all of that stuff? I struggle with that one. I'm not sure. I also think, however, about the Rav Kalonymus Shapira, who spoke about Simchat Torah, that it is a mitzvah, in that commanded sense, yes, to dance with the Torah, for the Torah, to be happy, to find happiness. And if you don't feel it, too bad. Rav Shapira did not have a lot of sympathy for not feeling simcha, smecha, sameach at Simchat Torah. And the remarkable thing about Rav Shapira is he was the rabbi of a Jewish community in Eastern Europe before the Holocaust and would die subsequently in the Shoah. He was serving a community that saw its own destruction on the horizon and said, nope, you have to be happy for Simchat Torah and dance for the Torah. It's a remarkable thing, actually. I think about the unyielding, hard-edged joy of Rav Kalonymus Shapira. And I think about the woman who did not want to go to the wedding because she said, I can't feel the way I'm supposed to feel. Both of them, in fact, were a certain kind of capitulation would sound too negative, but a certain kind of acknowledgement of the moment and what the moment required. Tisha B'Av is a little like that too. If you're not innately in the place of sadness or brokenness or devastation or whatever, you can go, Tisha B'Av has you covered. We're going to chant, and look over Eicha, Lamentations, the book of misery. I'm like kidding, but I'm not. I mean, it really is like... And so I get where it's designed to get you in the mood. It's a little bit like the dancing at the wedding, where it's like if you don't already feel the thing you're supposed to feel in this place, we will help you feel the thing that you're supposed to feel in this place. Just like it is a wedding, a mitzvah to dance before a bride at the wedding, to make the whole thing a big celebration, regardless of how you feel about it. You're going to go into Eicha, and you're going to see the destruction and the misery and the sadness and the brokenness and all of these things of our ancestors, and it's sort of programmed you to try and put you in a specific place. And so, think a lot about what it means to put ourselves in these places, how fully we do that. Is it possible fully to, as they say, fake it till you make it? Can you shove yourself into a place of enough joy that you feel joy? Or maybe is the wedding not for you? Can you force yourself into enough misery to shed whatever happiness might be blessing you this Wednesday night into Thursday? It's kind of an interesting thing to talk about subordinating the way that we feel to tradition. Judaism is very focused on what it is you do. There are not tons and tons and tons of Jewish passages that say how you're supposed to feel about it. Maybe Ivdu et Adonai b'simcha from Tehillim, serve God with joy. But they're fewer and further between. Ours is a tradition that is much more pushing you. We don't care how you feel about it. We care that you do it. And yet we do have these two holidays, like I said, are sort of, I feel like, are twins of one another. Simchat Torah on the one side and Tisha B'Av on the other, in which actually feeling and experiencing the thing is a little bit of what you're supposed to do. Passover carries valences of this too. And I say valences of this not because you need to feel joyous or you need to feel sad or broken or whatever, but you need to feel it. They say if you haven't eaten the matzah, the bread of our affliction, and tasted the horseradish, if you haven't done the thing in the experiential way and put yourself smack in the middle of it, you haven't actually experienced it. Rabbis say that. They say those who haven't had the matzah maror and charoset, I do believe, in Gemara, those who haven't eaten those things have not experienced the holiday, haven't done the holiday. It's not specifying, and there is interpretation around we're supposed to feel sad for the deaths of the firstborn and for the sufferings of the Egyptians, hence the drops of the wine on the plate, or that you're supposed to feel happy in a certain place for the redemption of the Israelite people, but it's not quite as pointed as it is with Tisha B'Av and Simchat Torah. And so as we go into this place of Tisha B'Av, this Shabbat Chazon, we have these haftarot of admonition that thank you for bringing to life our last one from Isaiah. They're also sort of programmed, installed to make you feel a certain kind of way. You're supposed to be down and miserable and whatever. And then you'll watch, following Tisha B'Av, we have this cycle of haftarot of consolation, lifting us back up again. The liturgy is trying to do these things for you, if not to you. And so I invite you to something of a thought experiment this year, going into Tisha B'Av. I invite you to a little bit of cheshbon nefesh, checking of the soul, a little bit of that inward reflection. Where are you authentically as it pertains to this place of sorrow? And I'm going to plant this one a little bit ahead of time, but when it comes to Simchas Torah, where authentically are you in this place of joy? And I ask that not because what you feel is wrong, but because sometimes what we feel and what we're supposed to feel are not completely aligned. And I think if we're going to be human beings, that requires us to say a little bit of that's okay and to accept that on some level. Yes, we have the mechanisms to try and put us in the right frame of mind, see under the Book of Miseries. But I invite you to sit with yourself and read the text against yourself. My rabbi, Rav Steve Sager of blessed memory, he used to say to me, sometimes the text is the text, sometimes our lives are the text. It's an interesting observation to make to me, particularly against the backdrop of Tisha B'Av. So I invite you to take your life and use it and hold it as a text. Let it illuminate the manuscript of the actual text. That's Torah, prayer, Echa, whatever. But I invite you and your journey to be a sort of traveling companion, for you to read yourself as fully into this space as you can. See what comes up for you. See what you learn about it. See what you learn about yourself. And see what you learn about Tisha B'Av and the Kadosh Baruch Hu and the nature of holiness in our world. But bring your life in as a companion text to this place of Tisha B'Av this year. Shabbat Shalom.